Good morning and welcome into the Coaches Show here on Saturday, November 5th. We've got a good show planned for you today, and normally we start off this show with a little bit of Wildcat and Ladycat sports and review, and I kind of detail college football, all things college football this weekend, but instead we're going to do something a little bit different as we've got a lot of seniors to mention, in fact 26 of them, with Coach Greg Owens, head football coach and athletic director of SSISD. So let's get right into Thursday night's game when the Wildcats football team traveled to Forney at Forney Citibank Stadium to take on the North Forney Falcons in their final game of the fall 2021 season, and unfortunately the Wildcats did fall 47-20. Wasn't for a lack of effort. The Wildcats were able to move the ball at a good amount of times, but unfortunately in the second quarter things kind of stalled for the offense, a couple of turnovers, and North Forney was able to pull away. But Coach, what did you like and you didn't like that you saw in the final game?
Well, just for starters, I mean, it was that was a challenging game or a rough game, I guess to say, to a challenging season. You know, it's been a struggle this whole year, and guys have battled, and they continue to battle, like you said last night, and proud of them for continuing to do that. And we've had our moments, and just about every game the wheels have come off at some point. And last night they came off really early, where we kind of opened up. We got pinned up. Defense did a great job. We'll get a stop. They took the ball. Defense got a stop. And we allowed the ball to roll inside the 5, so we're starting down there, I think, on the 2-yard line maybe, and then we get a safety. So that was a rough way to kind of get the thing kicked off, and then add to it 7 turnovers on the night, and that's just not you can't win. I mean, it's hard to do that stuff. So that was just a bad thing. There was a lot of good stuff in between moments and plays, but there was also some really bad stuff, and they kind of. Their season's over as well, and they just kind of opened up their playbook. So we saw reverse passes, we saw flea flicker passes, and they were able to connect on some of those things, and they just kind of drove a dagger in us and got our heads down, and with some of that kind of stuff. But kids came back second half. I mean, we did score one in the first, and then kids came back, and I thought battled pretty well the second. Just challenged them. Hey, for some of you, this is your last 24 minutes of football. Do the best you can, and get after it. We talked about that, I think, on our Tuesday or Wednesday show this week, and just doing those things. And I was proud of those kiddos for doing that, coming back out there. It's a hard thing as a senior, realizing the emotions, they just kind of overtake you at the end of it. And so we had some emotional guys, and because they've invested a lot in it. When you invest in it, it's hard to give up, and it's hard to understand, hey, this thing is over. So you can't explain that to somebody until they go through it. And it was tough. So I feel for those guys, and it was a hard year. But again, I'm proud of these kiddos. I love these kiddos. They worked their tail off. It just wasn't our year in the win column.
Yeah, and you're unfortunately right, Coach. And just like you were saying, the team fought all year long. And while last Thursday night's contest wasn't like the past few, in that the Wildcats had a chance to really get the first win on the season, just like you were saying, lots of fight and lots of really good performances from a lot of seniors, 26 of them last night.
Oh, yeah. These guys, it's a great, I don't know, if I had to describe the whole group, I would say it's a close-knit group. I mean, there's some little cliques within the group that are really tight, but as an overall group, I mean, it's a group that really cares about each other, loves each other. I think they know a lot about each other, and they're just a group that's kind of stuck together all the way through, and they've been fun to coach. They really have. They're good people, going to be great human beings, and that's what I'm excited about, who they are and all that. Yeah, well, sometimes we hang a lot on this win-loss thing and our identity. Yes, we want to win ball games. We want to be successful, but their win-loss record is going to have nothing to do with how successful they're going to be in life, because they're really good people.
You're absolutely right. But if you like, we can go ahead and go through all these seniors that we honored. As I was just saying, 26 of them were honored last Friday at home at Gerald Prim Stadium versus Forney. But, Coach, you want to go through these seniors?
Yeah, let's do it.
So first we've got big man running back Douglas Deloney, the senior, and he had a pretty good night barreling over some defenders last night.
Yeah, Dougie, he's a character in himself. Great kid, great human being. He's come to my house and worked and all this stuff, and I've just gotten pretty close to Dougie. And he's a good kiddo, and he's got a lot of God-given gifts. For a big guy, he is fast and can move. He's just got to decide if he wants to go do this at the next level or not. He may have that opportunity, so a couple of schools have reached out to him, so we'll see what happens with that. But when Dougie decides to go, he goes. I think the best example of that was last week. Not this game, but the previous one where we had to have a 4th and 2. And Dougie, you got to go get it. I mean, he was a man among boys on that one, and went and got it and did some great things there. He's a fun-loving kid. He's an easygoing kid. Everybody on the team likes Dougie. I mean, it's one of those things. He's always cracking jokes. His big old smile is always there. You know, he's a great kid. We'll miss him. I'm gonna miss his personality and messing with him. But he cares about people. There's a couple of stories I could share with you that I'm not, but he's got a huge heart. He's done some things for some of his classmates that are really, really special. And so he cares about people. He's getting them, and then to all these parents, I mean, they did a great job raising these kids. And to see him do some things that he did in his high school career has just been special. So I'm going to miss him. I'll tell him that I don't, but I'm going to miss him.
Absolutely. And you were talking about, obviously it's football. We're in Texas, it's just the be-all, end-all. And just like you were saying, you kind of hang your head on the wins and losses. But speaking on Dougie and what he's done for people in the community, it's those kind of things that exemplify what it means to be a Wildcat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's it. Those are things you want to see come out of your kiddos. You hope they get it. You don't know when kids are going to get it, I mean, the most rewarding thing, I think, as a coach and maybe a teacher is to see kids that you've taught or coached come back to you and introduce your family to them or tell you how they've been, or they come walk in dressed up in their military dress. It's just, I mean, that's just a sense of pride. And you kind of know, hey, they figured this thing out. And for some, they get it pretty quick. For some, it takes them a while to figure it out. And it's great also to be able to hire like a Tyreek. I mean, got to coach him, now getting to see him coach kids and see the impact that he has on people. That's just pretty cool stuff. I'm going to go watch some guys that I've coached with, too, play tonight. And so it's kind of a cool deal just to see that tree of guys you've been with, you've coached with, maybe kids you've coached. Johnny McSheffrey over there's 2 guys on the staff over there, another work for me at their staff at Commerce. I mean, that's just a cool deal. Just to see those guys and have those relationships. There's something just unique about coaching and teaching, and then just the community and the bond that it creates. And so when you hear people when they talk about retiring or they get out, and everybody always goes back to, it's not about wins and losses and games, it's about the relationships and all the stuff that you had and all those fun. I mean, kids will say, hey, what's your highlight? It might be a bus ride home after a ball game that they remember. You remember the funniest things, smells, and those kind of situations. That's what makes this whole thing special. And yes, everybody wants to win a state championship and want to win ball games. And yes, that's our goal, and that's what we strive for. But you're also helping young men and young women grow into, or your kids grow into young men and young women that they'll be proud of and going to be great citizens, and you pass the torch on to them. So that's the cool thing about coaching, and I'll quit my lecturing to you about that. But
oh no, you're absolutely right. You mentioned it's the little things like that. In fact, the moment you said that, it made me reminisce on my days back in band. And once you said that, it immediately made me think of like all of the bus rides to games.
Yeah.
And honestly, those were some of my fondest memories from high school. But just have so many coachable players, including number 4 Colt Silman, who not only is really good in the defensive backfield, but had some good plays at wideout last night.
Well, I mean, Colt. He's a salt of the earth. I mean, he's a great person. He's a fighter. I don't know. I kind of went through this list this morning. If I had to describe, just try to put a word on each kid or whatever, with Colt, the first thing that popped in my mind is a warrior. I mean, he's this silent guy. He's always been that way. Colt's been our ball boy. I've seen him grow up. I'm going to get emotional now. Excuse me. But that's what happens in this stuff. You get emotional, and that's good. But anyway, Coach just been a warrior. And see him and his family and his brothers on our staff and another kid I coached, it's special.
Absolutely.
Doug may have to edit some of this stuff. We'll just see here, but we'll make it go. But anyway, Colt, he's a warrior. I mean, this guy, undersized out at corner. I mean, they try to pick on him all year. He's going against 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" receivers, and we're putting him over there on those guys because of his technique, and we know how much he's going to battle those guys. Offensively, I mean, he is a great receiver, too. He's been an unselfish player. Anywhere we needed him, he was willing to go. And to see him, his whole life, he's been an undersized guy, just a smaller guy. And that's been frustrating for him, of not being able to grow and get thicker and stronger. But this senior year, I mean, he put some weight on, and his body's kind of catching up. His body's starting to mature. But his attention to detail, Dad, when he was a sophomore, I think he's the best route runner we may have had I can remember. He can run great routes. And so we weren't able to use it because we had to have him on defense. We didn't use him as much on offense. But again, there's those plays that Coach Young kept putting the play on for Colt. A reverse pass, whatever. He does so much stuff. He's a guy, he returns punts, he returns kicks. He's a holder on PAT. He can almost do just about anything we need him to do. It's a guy, so he goes in and plays slot. Just all kinds of stuff. If we need him to, he can go slide in at safety. It's just whatever he was asked of him, he did it, and it's unselfish, and that's a great thing too. Douglas too. Douglas running back, outside linebacker. I would think as a group too, most of these guys are just unselfish guys. They did what we asked them to do, gave up what they thought might be in their best interest just to try to help the team out and be better. But I love Colt to death. I love his family, and he's special.
And you're talking about both Colt and Deloney being unselfish players, willing to do whatever they can for the team. And another great example of this is the next player we'll mention, number 6, Colby Albritton.
Yeah, Colby, I don't know. The thing that came to mind about Colby is a Swiss Army knife. Colby, again, like Colt, just about anything. Even I think if I remember back, Colby, he might have been taking some snaps at quarterback. He's kind of this guy, inside receiver, outside receiver, running back, quarterback, whatever. Returned defensively. Did a great job. Gifted-wise, he's not the fastest kiddo we have. But, a guy that's tough and competitive, especially the last 2 ball games. Even before that, he's making great plays at corner. And, again, he's outmatched out there a lot with some guys we're having to line these guys up against. But he is a fierce guy. He will compete his tail off. Smart, savvy. He's marching in the band. So he's out there. He just does it all. His day is full. He starts early in the morning, and he goes until we're done at night. And then he stays on top of his grades. And then again, the competitor that he is. Loves baseball. Football's his second favorite sport. But baseball's his first love. But he comes out, but I think number 1, 2, Swiss Army knife and a competitor. I think of those things with him. When the lights come on, the guy's ready to go and make some plays. Slot receiver. It just kind of goes. He's a punt returner. He's a kick returner. He holds on PAT. He's the number 3 kicker. On days when the kickers aren't in the period, he goes and kicks for us. Just that guy that can do it all. And, just so thankful for him and him being out there, positive attitude. It is, Coach, what do you need me to do? Again, another unselfish player. What do you need me to do? Go here. Yes, sir. There's no argument. There's no question. There's no drop in my head. Okay. He just goes and does it. So, love those guys, love those kids with those kind of attitudes. Those guys are easy to coach.
Absolutely. And then potentially another easily coachable player would be the next player, number 9, J.J. Hall, another running back with Dougie. And what have you liked that you've seen from the senior back this year?
Well, J.J., I don't know. When you think of J.J., I just think of unique. He's just a unique person. He's got a unique personality. It's infectious. I don't know anybody that doesn't like J.J. Hall. He is just that guy with lots of jokes and lots of fun and he's an easygoing guy. He's a very emotional guy. He cares about it. He cares about it a lot. So when we don't win, Dougie may be the guy that takes the losses the hardest. He just is. He's so emotionally invested, in being successful. It's just, it's one of those things that's hard on him. But as a runner, he's a tough. We played him inside linebacker. And we also, but his main job is really, he became our lead running back, really. He kind of took over. He kind of could do it all, catch the ball coming out of the backfield, run inside hard running game, a little bit thicker kiddo to be able to step up and take on some pass pro. He did all those things. But he is so instinctive. JJ is not a guy, if he sees an opening, his vision and his cutting, incredible. And last night he almost hit a big one. He missed it at the last second. If he had cut out the back door, he would have been gone for another one big run. And we saw a lot of big runs from him this year. 40, 60, he just gets out there. He is fast. In my mind, he's not Emmitt Smith, but in my mind, back in the Emmitt Smith days, a smaller back just behind these linemen and then burst out of there. That's kind of JJ. That was kind of his deal. We had to slow him down earlier in his career to slow down on the path and just kind of read some of these blocks and find the creases. But he is probably the best guy at finding the crease that we've ever coached. And you don't coach necessarily that crease. And once you tell a guy, hey, look for the cutback, he's always looking for the cutback. JJ, you didn't really say that. You just said, JJ, press the heel line, and then find the gap. And it was natural. It was just so natural to him to do those things. Now, sometimes he might get you in trouble because he's that guy that's going to give ground because he thinks he can outmaneuver everybody and then go. But most of the time, he's right on his instincts, and he goes, he finds a crease, he makes positive yards. He's a physical guy. He's a strong guy, really is. And he's not very tall. He's 5'5". But he's a powerful dude, and those little legs get to scooting now. I mean, he can run. There's some explosiveness about him. I'm going to miss his personality. Just the carefree, JJ, let's go. He's always got a smile on his face, and he's just a unique person. And I said I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him every day stuff. So some days he wants to make you pull your hair out too. So I think his senior quote was, and this is the truth, and I'll validate it, that I like to get Coach Owens revved up today, or whatever the terminology he used, to pull my chain on a daily basis to try to that was kind of the joy of his practice day, I think, was to see if he can get me riled up about something. But yeah, JJ special, a good one, gonna miss him.
And then another senior and wideout we haven't seen a whole lot of this year, but when he has been, he's been very important and crucial to this team, Matthew Sherman.
Yeah, Matthew, man, wow, what a great person. Matthew, sky's the limit on that guy. He has got tremendous leadership ability, intelligent. Again, another guy, he's involved in everything from church to band to football to baseball. I mean, he's just in a lot of stuff. Leadership things. I mean, he's a very gifted speaker in front of people. I've seen him stand up and capture a crowd of people, and man, he's a hard-working dude. I mean, he's just a blue-collar, I say blue-collar work ethic, that's what he's got. He just comes to work, goes and gets it. Whatever you ask him to do, he's going to do it to another unselfish player. He's just fought some injuries. He had a finger injury, broken finger that we had to wait to kind of get healed and that kind of stuff. He was building up, the momentum was building, and then his finger accident happened, and it kind of just knocked him back down just a little bit. He didn't fully recover back to that moment, but there's a burst of more playing time at outside linebacker, kind of the go-to. His deal was catching slants, digs, curls. He was really good and very dependable on that stuff, and he could press you. He's a taller kid. I don't know, I think Matthew's probably about 6'1", maybe headed towards 6'2", but he's that guy. He's just a character, leader. You need something done, you go find Matthew. Hey, Matthew, can we get this done? Yes, sir. He'll make it happen. He's quiet. He's not the boisterous, loud, lead out front kind of guy. He's the quiet, silent leader that kind of gets it done. Now, I don't see it a lot, but he's got a funny personality. He likes to joke. He likes to play around. I mean, there's a lot of that with his teammates and his close friends. There's a lot of that stuff. Fun-hearted kid. He understands it. He gets the big picture about life, and going to be a super person and be a great leader in our country.
And then last player we'll mention before we go to a commercial break is a very popular wideout for both quarterbacks, Matthew Mitchell and Brady Driver, and Cable Glenn.
Yeah, Cable's a lot like Matthew. I mean, they're extremely similar in what they both bring, but both of them outside linebackers, receivers, leaders. Now, Cable is not into band, but Cable's heavily involved in church and in youth groups and just leading. Again, another very gifted speaker in front of people. He can do those things. Dependable. He needs something done. Cable can get it done. Now, overcoming an injury, Cable had a mass. Cable didn't get to play his junior year because he had a mass on his brain, and they removed that. And so, man, that's I'm getting emotional again, but. That's a big deal. Lots of prayer, lots of healing, just to see him get back out there again. So great the way he. Woo, sorry. All right, I'll get together now. Here we go. All right, so great the way he got to come back out and be a part of his senior year, and not just be a part, but contribute. We didn't know what that looked like. We didn't know, is he going to take a hit? Everybody, parents, him, all of us are nervous. But he was able to do that, and just a a persevering guy. I mean, he won an award for being persevering. Coach Carroll nominated him for this thing, and they did a special, and I think you guys ran it, and it was the Ben Hogan Perseverance thing. And he was one of the kiddos that was awarded for doing that, just for, not something he wanted to go through, but it was a blessing to get through all that and to be able to play. And he did a great job for us. Big body, big frame. He worked his tail off. I mean, he's just another worker. Again, like I said, he and Matthew, workers, leaders, just great human beings. They care about it. They love it. Anyway, his goal was, and his family's Silver Springs people, great people. But his goal, hang with me, Doug, hang with me. His goal was to run out of the tunnel on a Friday night. Mission accomplished. Okay? And that's it. That's Cable Glenn.
Oh, Coach, you're starting to get me emotional. Wow. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, catch a quick breather, catch our breath, and then we'll be back to keep talking more seniors from the Wildcats football team. All right, and welcome back to the Coaches Show here on Saturday, and we're talking all things Wildcats football and the seniors, 26 of them, and we got through 6 of them before going to our first commercial break, but now we're going to move on to a popular senior, number 14, Reed Williams. Yeah,
Reed's a character now. I've known Reed and his family and his granddad and for a long time, and so great having him, great him being a part. He kind of figured out his role, and that was to be a receiver. He's an undersized guy for us, and but he's very good at getting out of cuts, doing those things. Reed continued to work his tail off, just got faster and faster as he's developed. And they have a few rivalries there. Those guys are racing it all the time, but Reed's body just kept to develop. He got faster, found his niche. He came in at the slot receiver, Coach Young, several spots there, and did a great job. Reed he's an easygoing guy, kind of laid back. But Reed's going to be a successful person. He gets it. He knows how to. He just knows how to talk to people. Very personable. Very relational. That kind of person. And had some great, neat relationships. I don't know. Reed's a guy I'd always try to push my buttons a little bit too. I think at times he would ask peculiar questions just to see what kind of rise he could get or what the answer is going to be or all those kind of things. But we had a unique relationship. Fun. He's just a fun kiddo. He really is, and appreciate everything he did. He did some kickoff returns for us. We put him back there for some punt return things, also. And again, just a fun kid, sharp kid. Has I think probably like his dad's got a business mind to go do things, and so he's a guy too that I could lean on and depend on if I needed something done. Because I knew his mom and dad are going to help push him to do it. But Reed's also a guy that can make things happen. That's why I said I think he's got a business mind or whatever. He's just a responsible, maybe not always responsible, but responsible enough to, make this happen. And I didn't know if I told Reed, he would get enough guys, and he was able to rally some guys to make something go forth, And sometimes I don't know, for whatever reason, Reed's just kind of hanging out early, before practice some days. I think he had an early release date or something. I just asked his opinion on stuff. What do you think about this or that? And he would give it, and kind of I think he had a pulse of what what people were thinking and all that stuff. And I think he put it, I think he just appreciates like a lot of these guys, I think they just appreciate, the camaraderie, the team, just them being buddies and being around. I think he grasped that whole concept. Not just live and die by the win. We don't win. I'm not, No, he understood the whole thing. We all wanted to win again, but I think they grasped the concept of, hey, we're all in this together. Let's enjoy this moment.
And before we move on to the next player, another wide receiver in Weston Fields, I kind of want to put you on the spot here and ask you what, if you can remember, what was an example of a question that Reed asked you to kind of try and
I don't know. It's just obscure stuff about, what I don't know. I mean, I'm going to make something up because I don't remember one exactly, but it's just, what if the moon did this or did that? I mean, it was something like, just a weirdo kind of question. And he's not a strange kid. It was just kind of, he would just go, hey, how's he going to answer this? I don't know. It was just some cool stuff. I mean, the last thing we kind of talked about was, I think, elk hunting, and he showed me the last elk. I mean, it was a massive thing. So I don't know. It was just weird stuff like that, just little things. Or just get your opinion on something that he knew, I think, would rile me one way, how he knew I was leaning maybe this way, and I'm just going to push his button to see what this happens. So I don't know. I can't think of one specific, because most of the time I just try to get that stuff out of my mind, because I know it's nonsense, and probably most of the time I just walked away from him. But it's just those moments that we're just joking and having fun.
And those are super important when you've got a player who can not only, as you were saying, kind of get a pulse and a read for the team and tell you what is working, what isn't working, but then can rally those same players.
Yeah, and I'll just say this. I appreciate his mom. His mom kind of rallied our moms to us. We do a pregame meal before every game, and she kind of took the lead. Kimberly, she took the lead this year of doing that. So I just want to say to all the moms out there, thank you. Big deal. You guys were great. I know moms were always wanting to help and do, and it's kind of their special moment. I tried to stay out of there and stay away, but they fed all the players, all the team before every meal, and we just knew that was taken care of. And I appreciate her taking that lead, and I appreciate all the moms and everybody else that supported that and came and served our boys, because, I mean, that's kind of a special time for them too, and they knew their guys were getting taken care of, and it's a big deal. We know what's going in their bodies, before a ball game. So thanks, moms.
One thing I will mention is that didn't do our Wildcat and Lady Cat sports in review, but the middle school Wildcats, both 8th grade A and B teams went undefeated in their season, and something that really stuck out to me was when Coach Eddie Flores said it takes a village, and talking about the parents, and you're absolutely right. It's not only the X's and O's on the football field, the coaching staff, it's the parents who support the kids, it's the community that supports those players, also important to making it possible.
And that's what's unique about Sulphur Springs. So the longer you're here, you see that. You see that in a lot of stuff. So people ask me, what's unique about Sulphur? I'm hiring a coach, for instance. Hey, coach, tell me what's unique about Sulphur. What's the people? They care about our kids. They care about our community. You can look at our facilities. Around our schools, you see our athletic facilities, you see all that stuff. You see what's going on in the downtown. You see what's good. People care about this community. It's a special place, and it's about people, and I think our community gets that. Yes, we want to win. We want to do all those things and have accolades, and we want our kids pushed and to the best of the limits. But I think as a community, that is there, knowing, hey, we want to make sure we're raising, productive citizens, and we want to show our care for these kids, and they just show up. This is, I don't know if this is related or not, but I think it is. I mean, to see what's happening out there right now, there's the Vietnam, the wall that heals. I went and saw that yesterday. Wow, what a great event. I mean, our student body went. To go through one of those tours, you just get the respect of what these guys and the memory of what's happening, and our community brought that here. It's special. So I look at names out there of people who sponsored that to bring it here. I think it's the only place in Texas that they're having the wall, and so that's special too. So and then our people come to support just events like that. Is my purpose of saying that, but our students get to be a part of that. So I think our community leaders understand, hey, these are things we're pouring back into our kids that might make a big difference, and you give kids experiences, that never had. I mean, a few years ago, I took a group of kids to Disney World. All right, we played a game down there. Well, never been on a charter, never been on a plane, may never get the opportunity to go do that ever in their life. I mean, what an experience. So those that go play in the Star, do that kind of stuff that's unique. So when those seniors graduated, what was your most memorable time? Well, mine was going to Disney World. Mine was, seeing whatever. I mean, riding on a plane. To take off on a plane, those kids go, ooh, what's taking place? And, those things. Or the kid will say, hey, I remember playing in the Star, or Toyota Field. I mean, that's one of my I love playing in that facility. That was a cool thing. So those experiences with those guys, just to have an opportunity to do that or play at a college setting, those things are all neat. And that's what we're trying to do with kids. Give them experiences, open their eyes to what's out there in the world. That's what education's about. And then hopefully they catch a passion for something and they go chase that. So, that's what we're doing, and that's the fun thing about, about all this kind of stuff too, is you get to go through those moments with those kids, the highs and the lows, and just learn from all of it.
And we've had a good number of highs and lows, thanks in large part to wide receiver Weston Fields on the outside, who has connected with his quarterbacks a number of times for some big explosive plays.
Yeah, Weston. I try to figure out, how do I explain Weston? Weston is a unique character himself too. He's kind of quiet, but he is maybe one of the most emotional guys we have on the team. Just where he's passionate. I mean, he's passionate. He's a guy. I don't know. You see some, and I don't want to. This is not painting an ugly picture, so don't get mad at me, Weston. But I mean, those guys. He would want the ball every play. I mean, literally, he wants the ball. He gets frustrated at times too. When he doesn't get it, and we tried. He was the over the top guy. He's our deep guy, and he got frustrated. And we got frustrated when we couldn't get it to him enough times. Again, he's always open. He wants the ball. But he was a guy, and it's fun to see him go by people, and he is so quick. I mean, the guy is extremely quick. I mean, his feet start and stops. He can go by you, and he's a fun one to watch. He's an explosive. I don't know. Let's see if we can put it this way: explosive, emotional, a passionate player. I mean, he really is. I mean, he once the lights come on, it's all about competing and right now, let's go, because I'm fixing to try to embarrass you. He enjoyed walking out there and talking to that cornerback who I know was talking back at him. Sometimes we had to get him. Hey, look here. This is the route. He gets so emotional to that, but that's the competitive in him. I mean, he was just that competitor, and so explosive guy. I mean, he's a jump guy. He's got spring. He is. I mean, I wish we could have got it to him more. I wish we could have been more consistent with getting him the ball. But every week, in coaches meeting, how are we going to get the ball to Weston? What can he do? So, and frustrating to all wide receivers when they take their best one and put them on top of you, or they're double covering you. So I go back to, let's say, Greenville, big night, explosive, getting behind guys, doing those things. So we play Forney, look up, and then Forney's got their best dude on top of him. Well, they're slowing him down. I mean, they're on him. The corner was a big physical corner, and Weston's not a big guy. He's quick and stuff, but he struggles with the physicality sometimes just because of size maybe. And when they got a big corner especially, well, CJ starts going off in the ball game. Well, they take one, and then they go put him on top of CJ and try to slow down CJ, and that opens Weston back up. And it's some of those balls we just couldn't quite hit with him that could have been explosives right there too. But loves to compete. He gets into it. I mean, he's emotional about it. He's a guy when he's all wound up, I mean, he's wound up. You just got to kind of let him cool off a little bit because he just does put him so much of his emotion into playing and the competitive. And that's what you love about him. I mean, those guys that want to – he's not a guy you have to fire up to go play. No, you just have to say one thing. Hey, Weston, I don't think you can beat that corner. And all of a sudden, the switch goes on, and he's okay. I'm going to show you, Or if the corner says something, all of a sudden he goes into all right, let's get it on mode right now. So he's not a guy. Otherwise, outside of that, he's pretty laid back, cool, nonchalant, easy going, all that kind of stuff. But again, when you turn the lights on and it matters. Or he can be an indoor. We can be in a practice, and somebody say something to him. It's going to be now. He's talking smack to them. So fun. Those are fun guys to be around. Those kind of deals, and you just got to understand them. And you got to work with them. And each kid is unique. How you try to motivate them. You push their buttons, in a positive way to kind of get them going and get them motivated. So you motivate him a different way than you do Dougie. I mean, that's just the way it is. So. Fun guy, explosive. We're going to miss his home run speed.
Absolutely. And then moving over to another standout senior in Devin Franklin.
Yeah, Devin 6'7", big guy, big, tall, long, rangy guy. And Devin is a great person. I mean, he's just kind of laid back, easy going. And we're always trying to motivate him. Let's go. And then we would see moments of greatness out of Devin. I'm going, oh, whoa, that's the Devin we're looking for right there because his wingspan, I mean, he just has some leverage. There's something about, we inducted Colton Miles Nash the other day, and I remember he's the first player that I recall coaching that was that tall. He was 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", and then getting around messing with those guys, their reach is incredible. And you understand why they recruit these big, tall wingspan guys because that's a big deal. That's a big deal knocking down balls, getting leverage on people. It just is, And so now you got Devin that's kind of the same way. There's a lot of things. He's not going to do it the same way that a Madison Martin's going to do it. He's going to be a more finesse guy, but he's got all this wingspan. He makes up for some of that stuff. Where Madison is a missile. Devin's more of this, technician play, give ground. Oh, I got you now. Still same result, but it's just different. And so there. So, Devin's gone through a lot of family issues this year, just things, and he's very private about that. And I'm not going to speak on any of that stuff, but it's just some private stuff with him, and he's kind of missed here and missed there, and it kind of never got a full niche. I don't think we ever got to see the full Devin athletically, just because stuff going on, and that's okay. But he took it in stride too. He didn't get to play yesterday because of one of those situations, just because he had to be with his family, and so. I hate it for him, but he understood it. We had a good talk. He said, Coach, can I come eat with the team meal? So he still loved it. Again, it's just showing the camaraderie. They want to hang around each other. They want to be there, and he wanted to come have a team meal with them before he had to go to this thing with his family. And I said, absolutely. So, again, it's a fun-loving group, and then Devin's going to be a great person. Again, he's laid back, takes life in stride, those kind of things. And he's a guy that you kind of want to get pumped up a little bit more and just see what that 6'7" can do. But he did a great job for us. Special teams guy, outside linebacker. We kept working on him, trying to be a receiver with him too. Sorry, Devin, not the greatest of hands, all right? But we kept working with him because he's such a big target, but we would mess with him about some of that stuff. But he's a fun kid, man, going to miss him, just going to miss his spirit. He cares about people. He's another guy that just truly gets it, cares about humanity, and, not going to get too worked up about the things that aren't important.
And we've talked about in previous weeks how obviously with a lot of these really tough losses, it's really hard because you kind of get lost in yourself. You kind of think, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. You kind of regret, second guess yourself. But you've said in a couple of the last few weeks that when the team gets back together first thing the next week, not necessarily that disappointment goes away, but it kind of gets glossed over more.
There's a healing process. I told Don before he retired from this job, Don Julian, I said, Don, I didn't always enjoy coming up on Saturday morning. I said, but what I realized when I left on Saturday morning, it kind of was a healing thing for me if it was a rough night because it let me get it off my chest. I got to talk through it, and I got to see, hey, here's the positive side of what happened. We might have been frustrated with this or that, but the bottom line, this kid did this great, this kid did this great, this kid did, yeah, we messed that up. We got to fix that. But, that's the whole thing. So that's kind of the way it is for your team. You kind of come back, all of a sudden these personalities are back together, and, okay, let's go. We got to refocus. Let's get to the next one. Let's get out of our little pit, quit feeling sorry for ourselves and a pity party, and let's go back to work. So that's all you can control. And that was the message last night at halftime. Look, we screwed it up, guys. We messed up the first half last night. All right? Offensively, defensively, special, we messed it up. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. All you can control now is the second half. So that was the message. Go control the second half. And I was proud of the way they came back out and they did that. And so things got better. We started making more plays and that kind of stuff. So that's all you can control. So hopefully these are lessons that we teach in athletics that will carry on in life. Because you're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have financial issues, marriage issues, family issues. You're going to have problems. How you with it. Quit, lay down, just stay in your pit, or you're going to get out and go back to work. So that's the life lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving over to another defender, as we previously talked about, Devin Franklin, another very impressive defender on the back end who's been excellent in coverage this year, in Cordarion Bull Turner.
Yeah, Bull is a gifted young man. He really is. 6'2". He can run. Regional triple jump guy. He's gifted. He is with that. I think the last 2 weeks, we saw the Bull we've been wanting to see more consistently, because the last few weeks he showed up. Now I'm telling you, he's making, against Forney. He's making plays on the line of scrimmage. He's knocking down balls in the back end. It's like that's the guy right there that can take over a ball game. Those are the things we look for in Bull. And so, man, just to see him kind of finish on that stuff. Bull's a guy that's got some college interest. At what level, don't know right now. Don't know how serious he is about it either. So, because it's a big time commitment. But he's got some ability that can really allow him to go do that. And Bull, I'm proud of Bull, but Bull has been he's come back to work. The losses hurt him too. They hurt him bad. He and JJ are really close. Those guys emotionally, they're down. But what I'm proud, Bull just keeps kind of coming back. Bull is he's a leader. He really is. I mean, he's a leader that kind of leads by example. When Bull's there and Bull's got his motor cranked up, everybody else kind of has their motor cranked up. It's just like, okay, Bull's here to play today. So he kind of leads those other guys kind of watch him, I think. It's what I've observed the last few years, and how he goes, we kind of go back there in the back end a little bit somewhat. Now Colt's Colt's the guy. You look at Colt, it don't matter. Colt Silman, he's on. He's always on. He's always on. You don't question that. But now with Bull, when he turns it up, it's all like, Bull's here today. Let's go. We're ready to rally around him. And so he's a guy that can do those things. And but he's a force. He is physical. He's got a great smile. He's got a great personality. He's a guy too that's really in life. He's kind of easygoing. And he just kind of rolls through life a little bit like that. So, he's a guy I wanted to light his fire a little bit more. Hey, let's take care of this, and this, and make sure, Coach, I got it. But it's just kind of, he's going to do it on an easy train there. So some of those things. So I think he's got to get a little more urgent with some things like that, and got to decide if he wants to do it. But when he turned it on in football, man, explosive guy. I love him. He's a fun guy to talk to. He's always encouraging. He would take encouragement, and he would be appreciative of that. You could also get on him hard. He would understand. So Coach Parson would get on him hard. He held him accountable. Hey man, you got to be the leader, and he pushed him even harder because we knew he needed to be the leader of our defense, of our secondary, and he's also a team leader. Just because of his ability to be able to do things and what he could take over a ball game. Because a big hit from Bull could flip the whole emotion of the whole game. I mean, those kind of things he had the ability to go do and still does. So he's a guy we hope to see great things out of too. He's fixing to transition into basketball a little bit and get to play with his brother. So that's good, fun stuff. They enjoy doing that. He's a multi-sport kid, so you're going to see him football, basketball. He'll head into track and hopefully get back to regionals and maybe a little farther, we hope. So just get back to work and get his mind right and get him going. But, yeah, we're going to miss him. We're going to miss his big because we could do a lot with him. Move him around, big-time player.
And then moving on now to number 19, Aidan Rogers.
Yeah. Aidan is a senior that didn't get to play for us much in a role this year, kind of trying to find his niche. He's a guy that's dealt with injuries. He's a really good 800 runner in track. But when football season, he dealt with the last 2 years a foot injury, and it's just killed him. And so he just missed so much. He never really could get in. So really his niche was for us is kind of help out receiver, depth at receiver, and he did that. And not a whole lot of playing time and all that stuff. And I know it's disappointing for him, but we had so many guys, it was just hard to get there. But he kept coming, kept working. And I said he can run. Now he's really a track guy. Is what he is. But again, I think he had a bond with these guys. I mean, some of these guys, they just had a bond to be together. And so just love being around them, being there at practice with them. And I'm proud of him for sticking it out and keeping going. And because I know he wanted to do more. But again, he was just kind of behind. It wasn't really his fault. It's just the injury deal that happened with him. But great young man, outstanding young man, respectful, hard worker. We look forward to him here in the spring, hearing some more about him.
And then moving over to a running back, Jesse Bailey, who had a couple of touches last night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jesse. So Jesse the week before as well. Jesse had he had on senior night. I think Coach Ty started him at receiver. He did a great job there. He got out, got open, do those kind of things. Jesse's another one of these fun-loving guys. I think everybody likes Jesse. And just a guy the whole team loves. I mean, and he just he got out there. I don't know, I called him a glide or the glider or something. When he gets in, he just kind of keeps sliding outside and he finds the crease. He's not the cutback runner. He's the bounce guy that ends up turning the corner for you and getting some yardage. But a great teammate, a great person. Jesse didn't get to be a part of some of the summer stuff we're doing because he worked all summer. I mean, he literally worked all night. I think at Whataburger, just literally every night. I mean, so he's a hard worker. Again, great person, fun-loving, easygoing, just there every day, big, huge smile on his face. So you put him and Dougie and JJ and Malachi all together with Coach Ty. I mean, that was a circus every day down in the corner in their drills down there. So, yeah, I don't know what all was said all the time, but most of the time they're all smiling, they're all laughing, and then at the end of the day they're all doing up down. So I don't know what all goes on with those guys, but it's a unique group, and they're all running backs, and so they're all a little quirky anyway, all right, being a running back. But it's just they're just fun, and I mean I just appreciate Jesse. I appreciate his team attitude. All right, didn't get the carries he wanted, didn't get enough reps. I mean, I just mentioned a bunch of guys, but he smiled every day. He came to smile every day. He loved being there with his teammates, and I just appreciate his attitude and his, just the way he carries himself.
And then last player we'll mention before we go to another commercial break is a leader on the defense, number 25, Madison Martin. Yeah,
I don't know. Madison. Hey, Madison, I don't know. He's wired for 220, man. This guy, he is a passionate player, and he is a live wire. He brings it, and he's a little undersized. I mean, I think he was frustrated a little bit last year, and we never really found – we played him at safety a lot. I think even on JV, we might have even had him run the football a little bit for us too. He's an athletic guy. He's a strong guy, but it's just trying to find his niche of where he fits in. And so finally, moving some guys around, but he's physical. He loves physicality. I mean, he is just. I mean, he wants to strike somebody all the time, and he is explosively quick. My thought kind of beginning of the year, I wanted to put him at nose guard some, just to say run around that guy, get in the backfield and go create havoc. Well, as things just kind of worked their way out, he kind of went outside and took over an outside linebacker role. And he's on pretty much every one of our special teams. I don't know, he's that guy that you're going to send in first. He's the Navy SEAL. Hey, you go take, yes, sir. I mean, he's just wired that way. He's the guy you send in first to go take care of business, and there's no questions asked. Yes, sir. You go bust this up, that up. So, now he frustrates you because when you tell him to go blitz, you tell him, to go get the onside kick. He may be offsides 2 yards because he's so juiced up. So we had to slow him down a lot. And, hey, slow down, walk off on some things before you're getting into it. But, man, explosive, love him, attitude, fantastic. He's just a go-getter. I mean, he's just a guy that gets after it. I think. So speaking of those guys that walk into that stuff, I believe, and hoping I'm not misspeaking, but I think he's going to a fire academy. I mean, one of his things, he wants to go into that line. So, walking into a fire, walking into a building, that's his personality. I mean, that's just who he is. And so love that guy. I mean, it's yes, sir, and he's disappointed, and it doesn't take much to turn his switch on either. So, I mean, when I talk about Weston up there, even a Colt was a silent assassin. You can flip his switch in a hurry. I mean, it comes on, but he's not going to show it. Now, Madison's going to show it. He's going to be pacing back and forth. Weston's pacing back and forth. These guys are ready to go. They're like caged tigers. I mean, just ready to turn me loose. And so, but I love that guy. I love his passion. And he is academically taking care of it. I looked at grades of that. He's taking care of his business. He's structured. I asked him to go do an event for me the other day. He said, Coach, I got college algebra. He said, I can't miss that class. I thought, okay. He's serious about his grades. He's serious about where he wants to go. He's got his priorities right. And so, man, I love him. I appreciate those kind of guys. Those guys are fun to coach because it's whatever you need me to do, wherever you want me to go, I'm ready. Here I am. Let's go. Use me. So appreciate him. Love him to death. Appreciate his toughness, and just the playmaking ability that he brought and the explosiveness that he brought.
And when we return from a quick commercial break, we will have the second half of these seniors coming up. Welcome back to the Coaches Show here on Saturday. We've got a lot of seniors we've already named, but we are halfway through. So right now we're going to get through some wide receivers real quick. And number 26, Alex Flecker, and number 27, Adam Peckham.
Yeah, Flecker. Yeah, he's a guy, Flex, kind of this universal guy too. For a while he was in band, he's cross country, he's a cross country runner, so he's a varsity football player, and he's kind of done that stuff, all through his high school career. So he's spread kind of thin, takes care of his grades, great leader, quiet guy. I don't know. Sometimes, you got to really go have a conversation with Alex, get him to visit with you. So, but a great person, great human being. He's a great leader. And when you get him talking, I mean, there's a lot of strong. I mean, he's just strong intellectually. I mean, he can have a conversation with you with that. So, sometimes he would slip into the conversation where every week or almost every day, Adam Peckham we'd have a conversation, have some questions, and so every now and then Flecker would slip over and we'd have those conversations together too. So, but a great human being, great young man. Just appreciate his work ethic. He played down for us last year as a junior, did a good job there for us, came up again with a deep outside receiver core, and he got some reps in there, got some work. You can depend on him to run the right route, to do the right thing, all those kind of stuff. Again, just the depth did not allow him to get a whole lot of game reps, but, man, I appreciate his work ethic. I appreciate who he is. Another young man that's going to be a great leader in our community or whatever community he chooses to live in. Just a dependable, great person, great citizen. I hope he chooses to run track in the spring too. He's in Coach Hicks' cross country group and distance group. So he puts and that just, when you talk about that talks about the discipline and the hard work and the mental fortitude that he has. Because that's hard work. Getting up at 6 o'clock in the mornings and going run 6-7 mile runs, come in and then go to class. And then come to football practice, and then all these things that he's got on his plate. So, man, outstanding person. I love him to death. If you might not even realize he's there, at times, just because he's not that out front of the lines. But, man, dependable, great person. Love him to death. Appreciate everything he's done for our program.
And then number 27, Adam Peckham.
Yep, Adam. So last night, Adam had his first 2 catches of the year. Man, he's been working his tail off, getting better, and he's kin to Madison Martin, and I think his path too. He's talking about going into being, I think, fire school and doing those things. They've been going to that kind of stuff. So those guys, he's not as wound up and as tight. He's the laid back version, all right. But he's not the guy that's going to necessarily. I say that run into a building like I described Madison earlier. But he's going to think about it first. He's going to figure out this. Madison's going straight in. Adam's going to analyze it. He's going to think about it, and then he's going to figure out the best way to attack this thing and go about it. But, man, love the guy. I mean, he loved being part of the group. I mean, he's a leader at his church. He's a leader amongst students. He's always got something. He likes to have conversation. He likes lots of conversation, and but on things that matter. It's not the read questions with him. Adam comes with some deep, hey, let's have this discussion. What do you think this means? Those kind of things. So he's an analytical guy that wants to figure things out and doesn't mind talking, doing things. I've seen him stand up in a group of people before too, in front of adults, and share and talk. And so it's impressive to see how he's maturing, and you just kind of see that leadership quality oozing out of him. He's not afraid to go do this, and he doesn't necessarily want to be the front man. He's just a worker and a servant. He's not the guy that has to be out front, and I think that embodied where he was on our football team. He was a backup receiver that came in after Weston just ran down the field for 60. He jumps in, and here he goes, and then has a few opportunities, and really his first 2 catches are this last week. So he didn't gripe, he didn't complain, he's selfless. I mean, it's just one of those things. He's just serving what I need to do. So helps out on special teams. I mean, just whatever he needed to do. Again, he gets the big picture. He understands what we're doing, why we're here. This is fun. I get to do this with my friends and my buddies, that kind of thing. Love him to death. He's going to be a great person. I can't wait to see where he is in 5 years.
And then got another senior in number 29, Bryson Taylor. Bryson,
yeah. Not many know Bryson because Bryson just moved here. I mean, football starts in August. He and his mom walk in my door, and, okay, we're here ready to play football. So we have so it's hard to move anywhere and get in. But Bryson had not been playing for a couple years either. They were just trying to really find a niche for him. He's a guy that signed up going to the military. He is gung-ho and ready to go. He's just learning the game. So we the only place we really knew where to try to help him try to get some playing time was on the defensive line. He was an undersized guy there, but he's a tough dude and he's a fighter, and he stayed positive the whole time. I mean, and it was just hard for him coming in too with no friends, nobody. So we put him with Coach Jeter, so there's everybody's friend, Coach Jeter, and so he made him feel welcome, got after it. Bryson got plays last night. I think he got plays last week. just getting there and mixing it up. But he understood his role. He wasn't upset. He came in and great, understood where he was, and just worked every day. Again, enjoyed, I think, being out around the guys and just getting. I think he likes the physical part of the game. The workout, the getting those things, that kind of stuff. And he was just continually trying to learn, hey, what his role is going to be, because it had been a few years since he had been on the field. So really behind in that regard. But I appreciate his attitude. He and I started talking just about almost every day, just about kind of stuff, a little conversation here and there. So neat kiddo. I'm excited for him. He is fired up about going to the military, and so excited that he's willing to serve our country too.
And talking about how Taylor has stepped up very quickly for this team, it segues perfectly into our next senior, number 31, Osvaldo Ariano.
Yeah, so Osvaldo, his uncle, Fernando, kicked for us, all right, on the 08 team. So his family's from here. He was here, moved off, and then decided to come back. So he kind of joined us late for football. But, man, what a great young man. A fun guy, eager to learn, just took it all in. He's very gifted. I wish he had another year or two. He has got an explosive leg like his uncle. And so he would also be playing soccer with us. But it was just, hey, try this, try that. And appreciate Coach Oath that's been out and helping us with kickers and all that. And it's also, you think, you got two kickers and all. Well, it's good. Those guys kind of bounce off either. If one of them's having a bad night, you can go the other one. This kid does this better. So, and there's a tight knit between here and Uriel Sanchez or Santa Cruz, all right, that was unique. I mean, those guys know, and those guys encourage each other. Hey, Coach, can we try this today? Yeah, let's try it. So you give them a lot. Hey, just sometimes where do you want to kick it? Where do you feel like you're confident right now? Because with kickers, it's really about confidence. Hey, can I kick it there? Consistency of doing that. They're both soccer players, so you kick a soccer ball differently. You kind of leg whip this thing when you kick it. And football, you kick it on inside out. So they're constantly trying. So they got soccer first period. They got football fifth period. They got football after school. So we're trying to break some of these habits, these soccer. So when they whip them out of bounds, it drives us all nuts and, frustrates us. But they're just still learning and continue to work on it. But he had this booming leg. Great job. Appreciate it. He kicked a beautiful onside kick last night. Perfect hop. And so it was cool to see some of those things when they have those things and make them happen. And so I'm proud of him. I'm glad I got to be a part of his life a little bit here. And he was so excited. He came up and thanked us, Coach, thank you for letting me play. He was so appreciative of the opportunity because he just wanted to be a part of the team. He wanted to do that. That's kind of what his family had done, and he wanted to continue to play. So I'm glad he came out. He sure helped us and appreciate him and fun getting to know him, and I can't wait to watch him play soccer this spring.
You're absolutely right, and should be a good soccer season. Always looking forward to those winter sports. And then we got another kicker from the soccer team as well, Josh Tavera. Yeah, Josh. This is a heartbreaking deal because he tore his ACL as we started the year, and I love Josh to death. Seeing him mature emotionally and physically and just gain confidence. I mean, he's got a booming leg as well, but he was lacking confidence when he was a sophomore. When he was a junior, he couldn't wait to his senior year. He kept talking about, I'm gonna break the record. I think he's got the record right now. I think he's got it. Maybe it's 48 on a field goal. I looked at him last night. The wind was blowing. These guys were hitting, 49, 50s last night in pregame. I go, Josh, record might be broken tonight. He said, that's good. Come on. So he's just a positive guy, encouraging, quiet. He likes to come sit in my office and not ask weird questions, but just come sit and talk. It's a fun relationship with him. I get mad at the kickers because y'all kick all day, then we get out here and we can't perform. But it's a love-hate deal, I guess, on some of that kind of stuff. But they're great guys and they're fun. And again, Josh, for a few games, he couldn't be at the games because of his knee. We didn't want to, he couldn't travel and that stuff. But after knee surgery, things are progressing. He's been coming to the games. So you'll see those guys hanging around. He'll just be down there encouraging those guys. He's just an encourager. He's a great person. His brother Angel played for us. Great kicker for us, another one, And so it just kind of runs in the family with him. And Josh he's got a booming leg as well. And I just hate that for him. He tweaked it doing something, then he was doing a plant leg trying to do a kickoff one day preseason, and he just twisted it again, and the thing just popped on him. So I hated it for him. He says he's okay, and I know it's emotionally tough on him, but I hate it that he didn't get to finish out his senior year. But he was there last night. He's been at all our functions, so he's trying to be in his part as much as he can, and he really did a good job of encouraging those guys. Absolutely, and then talking about a player being a part of everything, leads me right into the next one, number 44, Griffin Crawford, leader on the defense.
Oh, yeah. Griffin, wow. I talked earlier, Reed, Griffin's, because his family too, I think, dad business-minded. Griff's just a guy that takes care of business. Griff, I need this. Got it, coach. It's like I'm talking to another adult here. With Griffin, it's going to get handled. This will take place. So I don't know. I was trying to think of a word when I think of Griffin, and he's a leader. He's passionate. He's an emotional guy. He's so frustrated. He's a guy. This is a guy that you want to be 6'2" and about 230 at middle linebacker, and the guy is Dick Buckus then. He's just frustrated. His body's not caught up yet and maturing, and he's just been outmanned. We're playing an inside linebacker about 160 pounds, so literally every week he's outmanned 100-plus pounds. But you talk about fighting your tail off. He's like a Wolverine, when you get back to that kind of deal. So I go back to Colt Silman again, another example of that. Just fight your tail off. Back down from no one or anything. Who got that? What's going on that sideline? It's Griffin, coach. You got to pull him off. He's outside of that, when you step outside the lines, he's the nicest human being you'll ever meet in your life. But you get inside the lines, it's competition, it's flip the switch, it's another one of those guys, he means business. It's play. And love him to death, my gosh, last night. So he's got a collarbone issue. We think he broke it last night. So hadn't heard the doctor's report yet this morning, but hate that for him. But that's just a guy, he just sacrificed his body every play, and he is outmanned. And I'm talking, we played some monsters this year. I think their smallest lineman last night was 297. 330 down to 297. So he's in there battling that. We played the guy from Frisco that was going to Texas. He's got to deal with that. That guy's 6'5", 320. So every week, it's something. But my gosh, him and Cowboy, they fought their tails off. They just every week got after it and just brought passion. They cared. They're mad. They're special teams guys. Griff is kickoff, return, punt. Why? Well, because you can depend on him. You can count on this guy. He's going to know what to do. He's going to get the next guy lined up. He's going to tell this guy what his job is. So at middle linebacker, he's getting everybody lined up. Here we go, and running the thing. So tremendous leader, tremendous person. I can't say one bad word against Griffin Crawford, not one. I just love the guy. And outside of it, again, he's laid back. You can have easy conversations and just about the things that are important in life, And so love him to death. Again, super person. Appreciate everything he brought to our football team.
And then another leader on both sides of the ball, not only the defense but the offense as well, is tight end and or B-back, number 46, Carson Fenton. Yeah,
I was thinking about Carson this morning, just, unselfish. That's the first thing. Carson has worked his tail off to play tight end for us and got really good hands. And he's this big old body. And, Coach Jeter kind of trained him up to be this tight end. We didn't know where he really fit in our football team. I don't know. It seems, and I may be wrong on this, but it seems like Carson, even like in the 7th grade, might have played quarterback. And then it was tight end. Then it was receiver, outside linebacker. He's just kind of been, where's this guy going to fit? And so, this year, again, he worked his tail off all summer, catching balls, running routes, doing that. He still played some tight end for us, but our need, we were so depleted on the defensive line that we asked him to play 4 technique. Well, he kind of always wanted to do that, play defense, but we didn't know it was going to limit that much with him in offense too, because we were just so thin over there. And we had a couple guys step up at tight end. Caton stepped up for us over there and really gave us some depth there and started performing. And so it allowed us to rest him more. But again, unselfish, going over there and playing. I think the thing that helped ease that transition is his relationship with Coach Jeter. Coach Jeter moved from coaching our tight ends to going and coaching the D-line. So that relationship, I think, helped because they've had a great relationship, and so just a special thing. He's quiet. He's not going to tell you much, he'll be over here talking to his friends and all that, but you're not going to see him be vocal. But he will work. He is a physical player. He is an emotional player. So I can't keep saying this emotional. These guys have these things. They're in. When the game's on, it's on. He's a physical guy that's punching his hands. And I go back to, he's also a tough guy. He has been through some injuries now. I think it was a wrist, an arm last year on a play like in the 7-on-7 type deal. It seemed like it was 7-on-7 in the spring, and then this year he was dealing with thumb issues. I mean, it's just hard. It's a physical game, and that's just the way it is. But he's just kind of he's battled with back stuff, and he's all fought through all those things. So it's just stuff that I appreciate him. I appreciate his toughness, dependable. He's going to be there. That they're not going to move him around all over the place. He's not a speed rusher. He's a plugger and a fighter, and he's just a tough guy. He's just in there going to battle and going to get after it. And man, I appreciate that about him. Again, sky's the limit for him. I mean, he's just going to be a great person. I mean, he's going to take care of his business, his grades, dependable, accountable, all that stuff's taken care of. So he's just that guy that, is going to be another great citizen.
And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we will wrap up talking about these seniors for the 2021 Wildcat football team. Welcome back to the Coaches Show here on Saturday, November 6th, and we are wrapping up talking about the seniors, all 26 of them for the Wildcats football team. Before we went to commercial break, we were talking about a leader on both sides of the ball, Carson Fenton, number 46, but we're going to move over now to number 50, Clayton Boykin.
I got to go back and tell you this story. I just got a text from Griffin Crawford because I was asking how his shoulder. I talked about his collarbone maybe being broken or whatever. So I texted him and said, "Hey, tell me what the doctor says." He said, well, and so I just got a deal from Griffin. Griffin said, well, it's just a fracture. I said, just? And so that just shows you toughness, hard deal, no big deal, coach. This thing's going to grow back, and it'll be fine. So all good stuff, all good stuff. So we're talking about Clayton Boykin right now. Clayton, outstanding young man. He is a drum major in a band. He was playing offensive line for us, undersized offensive lineman, all right, for us. So he's a fighter. Clayton's also going to go into the military. So those are all just things to tell you what kind of person Clayton is. Takes care of business, leader. So the band, he's undersized lineman, so he's a fighter. He's disciplined. He knows he's got to be a technician and do all those things perfect. And now he wants to go in the military. So that just tells you what kind of heart he's got. He's a servant doing those kind of things. He's a leader. He doesn't mind speaking. He just takes care of business now. And what happened with him? He was injured, and so his season ended early for us. I mean, or he's probably one of our starting linemen here at the last ball game at offensive tackle. Because again, just a fighter, competitor, all those things. He's going to give you everything that he's got. So I hate it for Clayton. I love him as a person. He's going to be a great human being and be a leader in the community wherever he is. And again, I appreciate his service and his willingness to go and serve our military. That's a special calling. And so, but just a special person there. And again, I hate it for him that he couldn't, but it didn't keep him from doing the things he loves in band as well. So he was torn about that decision. Coach, I'm going to try for drum major. If I make it, what's that mean with football? I said, I don't know, Clayton. I said, we got to have you at practice. We got to figure that thing out. Well, I said, just go do it. If you make it, we'll deal with it. So that's what we did. We just kind of dealt with that. And unfortunately, the injury just kind of let him be one-sided there, pretty much ended up being banned, which is great for them. Because, I mean, again, a great person, takes care of business, and I think Spencer Emmett would tell you the same thing about him.
And then a great fighter in Clayton Boykin, no doubt. But then now we're going to move over to a couple of offensive linemen, starting with number 56, Stanley Alba.
Stanley Alba. Stanley, love Stanley. Everybody on the team loves Stanley. And Stanley, not a great football player, but a great person. I mean, he's just a great kid, unselfish. He just loved being around the team, loved being around the guys. We did a fundraiser earlier this year, and I think Stanley was the leading guy, fundraiser guy, involved in that team. I mean, his team won the competition of the fundraising thing, but Stanley's just he's just fun. He's just fun. He's different. He's gifted, literally gifted. He loves robotics. I mean, that's kind of his wheelhouse of stuff. He just thinks like that. I mean, he is super intelligent. And but football really wasn't his deal. But he wanted to be a part of the team and be a part of it. Coach Offit said, I'm hugging a bunch of kids last night. He said, but Stanley Alba, he said, I almost shed a tear when I hugged Stanley. So Stanley's the guy. He really just came in sparingly, very sparingly, played for us maybe a rep or two during the year on offensive line. But towards the end, he started filling in for us on PAT and field goal. And so he had his niche, and he knew it, and he loved it. He didn't care. I mean, he just – And last night, Offit also tells me a story of he's over there just encouraging guys. He's an encourager. So he just walks around telling linemen, defensive guys, he's just working the sideline, just encouraging people. So, man, emotional again. So Stanley, I love that guy.
And then got another offensive lineman in number 58, Conor West.
Yeah, Conor's first year to play offensive line. Conor hadn't been playing football in about 2 years. So as a JV guy, he's athletic, he's strong, he's fast, all right, and not very big. You know, he's about 175, maybe 180. But we're just saying we got to find a place for this guy to play. And so last year kind of was a training ground for him. We played him a little bit of tight end. We played him on a JV as a junior, and we played him at outside linebacker. He's a physical guy. He really didn't have a niche for outside linebacker, just didn't quite grasp the whole thing. But physical when you got him to do certain things, but didn't come naturally at just fitting off stuff. So anyway, this year we started getting to a pleated offensive line, and so let's try him. So we tried him. And just because of his want to and his willingness and his physicality and his aggression, he was able to do it. And I'm telling you, conversation I had with him after Greenville, we're having it right in the locker room, in the laundry room as he's putting his clothes in after the ball game. I go, how'd you play tonight, Conor? He goes, Coach, I think I played pretty good. He goes, I'm still working on. So he's telling me the technique that he's working on. He was kicking, trying to take away the inside on the pass rush. So the whole year, unselfish, accepted his role, not an offensive lineman, but did what we asked him to do and filling in that spot, and can continue to try to work, to improve, to get better. Just love guys like that. Again, I've said a bunch of those. That's why this group is a special group, and I just hate it because our win-loss record for them, they didn't get to taste success. But again, just great people, work their tail off, and he is the epitome of all of that. Just as quiet. Every day he's showing up. He's going to show up in the summer. He just put time in. He worked, and he's got a job on the side. And he's not a loud guy. He just takes care of business, takes care of his grades, takes care of all that stuff. So just appreciate him. I appreciate who he is and what he did for us, and I think it's just going to help him in life as well. So great kiddo.
And then got another offensive lineman, the third straight, and a center, number 65, Jacoby Yarbrough.
Yeah, Jacoby Yarbrough, man, I think he's one of the finest human beings I know. He's just a great person. He's played up and down the offensive line for us. He's a caring person. He cares about people. He carries himself in an impeccable way, I want him sometimes to be more aggressive when he got on the field and got after it, just see what this body had. But he played center for us. He slid into that row, identified defenses, blocked defenses. Along him and Sean Dial were the staples up there, and everybody else kind of filled in around them, and they just kind of helped this group, and they just kind of helped grow the group. So Jacoby wants to be a coach. So last period, I've got him coaching some kids right now. Okay, you take him, you go do this. So, but he's that kind of a person. He wants to get involved. He wants to serve. He wants to do those things. So he gives them himself. I think he's got great leadership. He's a guy that volunteers. Hey, who'll help go set up the wall of honor? He raises his hand. He's just that guy. So. I got some calls this summer, hey, Coach, I need somebody to help me move. We're going to pay them. I need somebody. So my mind started, I need a big physical guy, that's dependable, going to be there, going to represent us well, So I called Jacoby, absolutely. So then I get a call back from the person that he helped move. I think it was him and Sean Dial. And both of them, they're just raving about how these two guys were so respectful, hardworking, did what they asked, so polite. Just a great person. Gonna miss that guy. You want a ton of those Jacoby Yarbroughs on your team. And I look forward to him and helping him in the future, whatever that looks like. And but again, love him to death, dependable. He just loves the team concept. He's the guy that rallies around and loves the offensive line. And they're weirdos too, all right? Coach Offit included. So they're just different. The old line guys, it's a clique in its own self. They just do their own thing. But he loves that. He embodies that. He just embraced everything that he did, and he got a little taste of defense at a time or two, but just a guy, super coachable. Yes, sir, whatever you ask us to do, I'm going to do it. Not going to gripe, not going to complain about anything, just be a positive teammate. So love him to death. We'll miss his leadership tremendously, especially on our offensive line.
And then Lastly, we've got two defensive linemen to go over, number 92, Brighton Rooter, and number 97, LaKyron Cork.
Brighton Rooter. How do you describe Brighton? Man, I don't know. I mean, the first thing that comes to me is tough. He is just a tough kid that just battles through injuries, battles through disappointment, battles through whatever, and I told Brighton this on several occasions. I appreciated his leadership. When we're going through the hard times we're going through, and offensive, sometimes you got to have players have to step up. They leaders, and you got to have leaders on the field. And especially most of the time, defensive players are your more emotional guys. And so when you get emotion, and you got to play with emotion on defense, you got to have that person that's emotional, but they can reel everybody else in. Brighton, every single day, now he had a few bad days, I'm not going to lie to you, but most every day, he a positive attitude, and he got the D-line, he got the front charged up and juiced up. And they would listen to him. Now, Brighton, he's the guy out front. He's the vocal. He's loud. So he can go bad or he can go good. Well, with him, 98% of the time, it's all good. And he was a positive. When everybody's down, when everybody needs some juice, he's the guy that brought them back. He's the guy that was the encourager. He didn't get to play this last ball game, but a personal issue. But again, Coach, can I come have a team meal? Well, absolutely. So he's there, keeping it light, keeping it fun, encouraging everybody, loving on everybody. And when I need some hard work done, I call Rooter. Rooter, I got a job. Can you? Yes, sir. I'm in. He's just a tough worker. I got a man that he worked for. He's called back multiple times and said, "Can you send Brighton? Can I have Brighton?" He's just a tough guy. Gets it done. He's just a nasty defensive lineman. Those guys just have to be physical and hard in there, and that's who he is. He's a blue-collar worker, tough as nails. But I appreciate nothing. I appreciate his play and his physicality, but I appreciate his leadership and positive leadership, when times are rough. And that's big when you got your senior leaders that they step up to the plate and are trying to make it happen. So I appreciate him. I'm going to miss him to death. I love him to death. I just wish him the very best in all the endeavors he has.
And then last but certainly not least, we've got number 97, LaKyron Cork.
LaKyron Cork. So people say, well, Coach, who's the surprise? And you guys have asked it before. Hey, who's the surprise for you? Well, LaKyron may be the surprise for the season for me. We needed defensive linemen. We lost defensive linemen. We needed him to step up. And LaKyron, like some others, he's a free spirit. So you never know if his motor's turned on or not, because he's kind of laid back, whatever. But for LaKyron, he played, I'm going to say, above what my expectations were for him. I didn't know that he could play at the level that he played at. And I attribute Coach Jeter to that too, for getting him to that level and for pushing him every day, and for LaKyron, to get after it. Because there's some times that LaKyron, I may not want to work hard today. I might not want to, get after it today. But when he decided to get after it, he was a force inside. He did not get pushed around when he decided to do what make it happen. And I appreciate that about him. I appreciate, again, he's. Everybody, I guess, is a little quirky in their own sense and their position-wise, but his personality kind of fits a defensive lineman's quirkiness, somewhat. They're a little off, just like linebackers are a little off. I can attest to that stuff. So, you just got to want to go do those things. And Cork is one of those guys, and he loved it. And again, I attribute Coach Jeter to a lot of that stuff for those guys, keeping that unit together, getting them to play hard, and pushing their buttons the right way and all that stuff. But I love him to death. He says he wants to be a coach too, so he's kind of coming. We're doing a little shadowing stuff right now, and hey, Cork, these are the other things. You see some stuff, but here's some other things that you have to do. He'll look at me crazy like, yeah, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to clean these windows. We're going to do this. We're going to go unload this trailer. We're going to do all these things. We're going to clean this field. And he's kind of like, oh, this is part of it. Yeah, it's part of the deal. So it's kind of a neat thing to kind of see him and where he wants to go. And I was kind of shocked that was what his senior moment deal was. What do you want to be in the future? Well, I think I want to be a coach and an AD. So that's kind of his goal. So it's fun to see those guys have a dream. Now, okay, well, let's see if you really want to go do that or not, or what you're thinking. But he did a great job for us. Again, I would say one of the most improved players, especially this senior bunch, that really I thought just personally, my expectations, I thought, man, he did above and beyond that. Love this group, great group of young men. We're disappointed in our season, but I know life's bigger than that. We'll get over it and we'll move on. But it's positive memories with these guys. And yeah, we wanted more W's, but man, I can't say much about them as human beings. I can't wait to see them be dads and leaders and where they end up in life. And again, just a great group of people. And my congratulations to the parents. You did a fantastic job. Keep loving on them, keep pushing them, because sometimes they're seniors and you want to choke them now in the spring, but hey, it's going to be okay. Let's get them graduated and then get to see them do great things. So appreciate you guys, appreciate these seniors, appreciate the coaching staff and the hard work they put in this year. And even though it was a hard year, I think everybody made the most of it and tried to be positive as they could. And we've pushed through and persevered, and we're on the other side now, and everybody's ready to move on, I think, with the next phase, wherever it is for them in their life and career and all that stuff.
And you mentioned having the opportunity to go out and play this year, and something we've talked about earlier in the season, whether it be during one of our weekly interviews or perhaps on one of the coaches' shows, was as you know, last year there was a stretch of 28 days where Wildcats football was not played. Only, I believe, 5 games total played last season, maybe 6.
6. And
so for this year to play a full schedule, no cancellations besides the season opener, just a wonderful opportunity for your team.
Yeah, so what you learned, I hate talking about COVID, what you learn from COVID is you don't take things for granted. You don't know what you got. So that was really my message to our guys. Look, when we started the year, guys, we get to play football tonight. You get to play. At some point, this is going to come to an end, and it's going to be final, and it's over, seniors. So that reality hit them last night. Again, you don't know what they're talking about until it happens, and then that emotion hits you, but you get to play. So make the most of the opportunities that you have. We're not guaranteed 10 games. The schedule says 10. You can earn some more, or it may be taken away because of other circumstances. So injury, COVID, whatever it might be. So, make the most of your opportunities, and I think that's a lesson for all of us. Make the most of our opportunities today and do the best you can and live your fullest life you can and make a difference for today and impact people in today where you are.
Anything else like to add, Coach?
Nope, just appreciate you guys' coverage and everything goes on. And, again, love these guys and look forward to watching what they hold in the future.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Coaches Show. And that'll do it for us here on Saturday, November 6th, as we had Wildcats football head coach and athletic director Greg Owens detailing all 26 seniors and their careers in Sulphur Springs. But that'll do it for us here at KSST Radio. See y'all next week.